I think that the thing that attracted me to science fiction when I was very young, apart from all the superficial stuff that appeals to a small boy, like spaceships on book covers, flying across the galaxy and shining futuristic cities and stuff like that, was the fact that all of that stuff represented a very positive, optimistic outlook on the future. I would look at the paintings on science fiction book covers and I would see the message that this could be what the future could hold. We can dream this stuff, we can build this stuff. This is where the human race can eventually get to. We can become this amazing galaxy-spanning species. We can build an amazing tomorrow. And probably the most difficult transition from childhood to adulthood is realizing that everything you thought would be so easy as a little boy isn't necessarily going to be that easy, that there are quite a lot of people in the world who don't share an optimistic vision of the future. They are locked into a very narrow, very shallow, and very dark, grim vision that they want to impose upon everyone else. Now, I lived overseas for most of my childhood. Like, I had lived on 4 continents by the time I was 10 years old. I lived in Dubai for 3 years with my family as a child. So we would vacation, of course, to all points in between, right? Europe, the whole Mediterranean, all of that. And I remember one summer we had gone to Athens, which was pretty awesome. And I recall my mom at one point saying to me, and we've talked about this a lot since, when we were in airports, and I saw a lot of airports as a boy, she would say things like, okay, if I ever tell you to just drop, right, to just hit the floor, roll under the table, hide under the chair, whatever, I just need you to do it. I don't need you to argue with me. I don't need you to ask questions, give me a hard time. Just do what I tell you, all right? And I was like, okay, fine. I was little, I didn't get it, It seemed like some kind of a game, which was a little out of character from my mom and kind of weird, but I was like, fine. But the year after our Athens trip, the following summer, a group called Black September charged into the Athens lounge at the airport there and just shot the whole place up. The people who committed the atrocities in Paris yesterday were not just enemies of the West. They were not just enemies of all of the push-button values that we like to hold dear, right? Freedom, human rights, security, peace, right? Things like that. They were enemies of the future. They were enemies of any kind of a vision of the human race all coming together and building a better world, expanding as a species, growing, learning, discovering. Now, I don't know if I have really very many viewers in France, probably only a minute few. I do have one personal friend in Paris whom I have determined to be safe, which is good. But if you are over there, I hope you're okay. I'm really sorry that this happened to you and to your neighbors. I'm really angry about it. I hope that no one you know, none of your friends, none of your loved ones were among the actual victims, were directly impacted in any way. Although I'm sure that it's going to be inevitable that everyone's going to at least have a friend of a friend or someone who was directly impacted by this. But if so, I'm sorry. You have my greatest condolences and sympathies. And apart from that, my only hope is that we can leave all of this dark side of humanity behind us eventually, that we can all get to the better, brighter future that I remember seeing that was introduced to me by science fiction, and that I think we can still build. So, I love you. Vive la France.